Bim. Guess what? We are live. And it's back to what a week that was. And this weekend's on the 11th of February 2022. And what we're talking about? Well, loads of stuff today. And this is a week where some weird stuff happened as well. For example, a guy from Stalybridge, we know it well. If you watch the channel on a regular basis, you know I drive Stalybridge on a regular basis, and I drive back again. Gentleman was on holiday, and he'd had a bit too much cider, and he'd been sick in a bin. We've all been there. Well, I haven't, but I dare say some people have. His false teeth fell out into the bin, and thought nothing of it. And then 11 years later, a package arrives, and it's from Tenerife, and it's got his teeth in it. And apparently what had happened is, somewhere along the way, someone had been digging up landfill, like you do, found his teeth 11 years later, like you do, and thought, oh, I must get these back to the owner, like you do. So they did some DNA testing on them, like you do, and found out that it was they belonged to this guy in Stalybridge in England. So they sent them to him. Why? No idea. But it's a funny story, and let's be honest, we need funny stuff at the moment because everything's just so damn miserable. So yeah, it was historical, and that is said teeth there in a bag. The guy looked very happy with them. I don't know whether he put them in or not. I don't know whether he washed them and put them in, or whether he just put them in anyway. Assume they've been cleaned. But just think, if they've got DNA after 11 years of being in landfill and they can still be traced back to you. It's just mad. It's just mad. There's no other way of putting it. It's just absolutely Granville bonkers. So what else has been going on? Well, in another weird twist, everyone's favourite heir to the throne, Prince William, his dad has caught COVID again, which he can do. He's been triple jabbed. He's in his 70s. And he's caught COVID again, but apparently 2 days before he was found to be positive, he'd been to see his mother, who just happens to be the Queen, who, when she passes, he becomes king. Conspiracy? Possibly. Hello, Toff. Don't forget to join in the conversation as well. It just seems, I don't know, just seems a bit too... Really, Charles? Yeah, well, people are distracted with parties. You're doing that? Yeah, not happy. So anyway, Her Majesty hopefully will be okay. Although I did have a dream that Prince Charles, it was on the news that Prince Charles had died from COVID, and then the Queen took her own life a couple of days later because she knew he wouldn't be king. Dreams. They're weird. Another dream I had was that Boris had gone to Poland to escape all the trouble that's going on in the UK, and lo and behold, he'd gone to Poland. But he's that big they can't put him on a soapbox because he'd break it, so they had to put him on a pallet, super reinforced pallet, so he could stand and point at the ceiling whilst there were soldiers looking at him, because that's what you do in Poland. You just stand there and point at things. But no, serious issue. He's gone to Poland to have a look at the troops and just basically get everyone ready for possible invasion by Russia of Ukraine. But again, it's all speculation. No one really knows what's going on. Not even the Russians, I don't think. I'll be honest with you. But Boris as well has also come up with this brilliant idea. I mean, trust Boris for everything, can't we? Of removing all COVID-related restrictions by the end of this month. Not the end of March, which would make more sense because we're going into spring. We know by the end of this month. Bear in mind that the heir to the throne's got COVID now. Makes no sense. The doctors, the medical advisors and everyone is saying you shouldn't be doing that. We should be keeping at least face masks on. But get rid of the COVID passports, for God's sake. I mean, they were a massive thing. And all of a sudden, you don't need a passport anymore. You don't need an injection. You come to Britain, England particularly, and you don't need to do a test on the way in. You don't need to do a test before you come in, even if you're unvaccinated. You don't have to self-isolate or go into... say contamination then. I didn't mean contamination. But go into quarantine. All you do is go home, carry on as normal, and maybe do a couple of tests if you're not vaccinated. So what was the point of getting vaccinated? Also, the passes. I've never said that the passes are a good idea, mainly because, as we found out with Prince Charles, you can still catch COVID even if you've got all the injections that you're ineligible to. And you can still spread it, but you're less likely to, which means you're more likely... you're less likely to know you've got it, which means you're more likely to spread it because you don't know you've got it and you're acting like you're blah, blah, blah. But apparently, all out the window. So now, even if you catch COVID from the end of this month, you don't have to stay off work anymore. I'm like, what? Is he going for the bodies piling up thing that we heard about when this all started off? Let the bodies pile up. There's still 200 odd people dying a day. It's all very odd. Anyway, he knows what he's doing. Said no one anywhere. Said no one anywhere. That doesn't make sense. But anyway, what else is going on? I'll tell you what is going on. And it said China then, but it's not China. It's Canada. There are protests from truck drivers. Basically about everything. They are just protesting about everything. And now, the protests are going global. Even though the majority of the stuff that the Canadian... it's all to do with vaccines, it's all tied in. Even though the Canadians are doing this for Canada, because apparently you have to be mandatorily vaccinated if you are a truck driver in Canada now, or at least that's the plan. It's going all over the world, this protest. And I'm like, why are you protesting in your country when it's not even a thing? It doesn't make sense. Hi, John Higginbottom. Both of them even, sorry. Welcome. Don't forget, you can chat, subscribe, or whatever. But yeah, protests going around the world for no reason makes no sense to me. But not a lot does make sense in this world at the moment. Let's be honest. Particularly, we mentioned Russia before. If you take into account Liz Truss. Yeah, she's our foreign secretary. God, do you remember when we had Boris as our foreign secretary? We're like, God, we hope we could get someone better. I say bring back Boris as foreign secretary. Liz Truss. That's a cheese lady, isn't it? Or was it the fish lady who whistled on it? That is disgraceful. Yeah, her. She's now foreign secretary. The Russian foreign secretary, who's the guy holding his hand up, showing her the way out, no doubt, he said that the meeting they had was like a mute talking to a deaf person. And I'm like, yeah, I get that. This is the best we can do, though, mate. So just have to put up with it. We've got Liz Truss as our foreign secretary, trying to stop World War III. Start digging your nuclear bunkers now, folks. No comments today. We were very commented last week, but we're not getting any comments today, so we can always go back on these things. Otherwise, it's just going to be a monologue and be very, very short indeed. What else is going on? Oh, Clarissa Dick, or Clarissa Dick, or whatever she's called, was the Chief Constable of the Metropolitan Police. You know, the Metropolitan Police, where things are going very, very wrong in very tragic ways on a regular basis. Anyway, she's now finally decided to resign, even though yesterday morning on TV she said she had no plans of resigning whatsoever, and by tea time she'd gone. So that says a lot. Still no comments. What is going on with you lot? But yeah, what is going on with people not being able to do the jobs properly? Bit like me doing this show, because I still haven't figured out how to do it without getting it all wrong on a regular basis, but we seem to be doing okay at the moment, which is good. But yeah, she's got put in a sticky situation, to be fair, when she got took on. Hasn't handled things very well, and things have actually gone from bad to worse, so she's finally decided to quit. But Priti Patel, our Home Secretary, she's great, I love her, she also didn't know what was going on. The government has warned people from travelling to Ukraine and any British citizens to leave. Don't know if you talked about that. Not yet, no. Basically, yeah, that's Clarissa Dick though, not Ukraine. But thanks, JT. Hope you're good. So, yeah. Caressa, Dick. There's a joke there, but I don't know what it is. Talking of Russia, which we weren't. Yeah, if you go to... Let's go to that one. The Ukraine has now got a lot of Russians surrounding it. Like over 100,000... not normal Russians, not like a protest or anything. I mean proper soldiery Russians, you know, with guns and tanks and things. Although they're all from like the 1950s, so don't really count. But they're all around there, and they're going to possibly attack Ukraine, which means that we would then fall out with Russia, and then we would have sanctions against Russia and all that. But one thing I don't understand is when they showed a map with all the dots round of where they are, understandably, whoops, all the dots are in this area, go along to the top to the end of the grey, and down here to the end of the grey where my fingers disappeared to. But they also show them where I can't point, whereas you see the two little sticky bits of orange that are sticking out. Well, the second one of them away from me, the smaller one of the two, has got a little border going up. And that's also got Russian troops in it as well. And I'm like, well, that's not even Russia, is it? Or is Ukraine kind of wedged in between Russia, a bit like Canada is with Alaska? Nobody knows. Good evening, Lewis. But they are basically now saying, if you're American, and as JT's just said, British, you do not go to Ukraine. You do not make any arrangements to travel to Ukraine. And if you live there, and you're English American, and probably other countries as well, it's probably best to get out now. So I think they know more than what we know. But Yeltsin, he's having a wonderful... Not Yeltsin, good God. Putin is having a wonderful time because everyone is thinking how scared they are for Russia to attack. So everyone's going over there. Like I said before, Liz Truss has been there and did a lot. And Boris has been on the phone to Putin as well, as has the French President Macron. And they got the special table out for Macron because he's French. I don't think they like the smell of garlic. So what they've done is they've given like the longest table in the world. It straddles two timelines. It's that big. And they had to talk by phone over it with translators who were hidden within the desk itself. So it is a very bizarre thing that's going on with Russia at the moment. And Putin just likes the attention, a bit like Rocket Man from North Korea, I think. He loves the attention, doesn't he? And remember good old Trump, he'd give it to him on a regular basis. And occasionally they got attention as well. But some people and some Russians who don't like the attention is our Russian ice skater. I can't clarify that is her, and I dare not say her name, but apparently she's a brilliant ice skater, and she's helped win Russia, if it is her, it's GBTV rip-off, so it may not be her, it may be someone completely different, but helped them win a gold medal. Looks ridiculous, that table. Is there any point of Ukraine trying to fight back? Well, we'll join in, that's the problem. Anyway, this Russian has now been done for doping. Now, I never understood the term doping. You know, like, horses have been found to be doped, and athletes have found to be doped. And I'm like, well, doping makes you kind of go a little bit like... So if you're going to compete in something, you're not going to win. But apparently doping also means getting a boost, which is not doping, it's boosting. So I would have said she's been boosted, allegedly, obviously, because I don't want to upset the Russians. But she did a quadruple or triple 360 jump, not once but twice, and it's never been done before during the Olympics. So she's very good, but unfortunately she may not get her medals. And that table did not look ridiculous, it was fantastic. I need to find a picture of the bloody table now, don't I? Just to show people what I'm on about. Frankie Slattery, Taggart, there's been a murder. Oh, hang on. So we'll go into that. New phone. Don't know where anything is. Putin. And Macron. There we go. Not video. Images. Well, that works. That's good. So what we come up with? Looks ridiculous, that table. Is that all we can come up? Come on, guys. Let's talk about something else while I'm just doing my bizarre editing thing that I'm doing at the moment. Right, so that's there, that's there. Click on that. Click on that. Click on that. Click on that again. Go like that. Right. So looks like the Russians are in. See, as soon as you talking about Russia, and I think we have the disease. I think it's called Lassies from the Indies. I think. What? I don't know what's going on anyway. Anyway, let's just go on this. Go on that. Go on photos. Click refresh. Click on that. Click on that. And do that. Right. So, well, this was worth the wait. It's going to be the wrong size as well. I warn you in advance. Oh yeah, okay. Right. They are. Oh, it's smaller than I thought it was going to be. Okay. But there you go. That is the table that Macron had to sit at with 2 ice skaters on it. At least that's what it looks like, 2 ice skaters. Make it a bit bigger for you. There you go. You could have a whole bloody hockey team on that. Have a full game of hockey. Oh, Lassa fever. 3 cases in the south, 1 death. Ah, that's not good. I know they were on about something the other day on the news about some other disease. So I don't understand why people don't want to wear face masks. Face masks are the least annoying thing to wear, and they save lives and protect you and others. So yeah, Lassa fever, been 3 cases in the south, 1 death. Is that south of England or south of like somewhere else? Not Australia or something. Not that there is a South. Yeah, there is a South Australia, isn't there? Obviously, there's a north and south and east of everything. I'll be telling you that you can grow concrete soon. Another thing that's perturbed me this week, which I didn't quite get my head around, and that is fracking. Now, fracking is big in America. It's not very popular, but it's big in America. South of UK. Ah, right, okay, that's not good. And we are buying fracked gas from America and shipping it over in massive tankers at great expense to then put into our gas pipes and then basically charge us the earth for it because it's gone up because we've got it from America. Whereas in Lancashire, which is not far from where we are, which is what this is, there's fracking tests that went on and there was earthquakes which were measured at 0.2 and that was decided as being not 0.2, 2.5 or something like that, which is a bit of a rumble in the jungle type thing. But fracking has to stop, and we've now got massive gas crisis. So we've got loads of gas underground that we can get to quite easily without shipping it all over the world and without paying extortionate prices for. But because it rattles a few windows when we get it, talking about windows, there'll be the windows that frosted up on the inside soon because we can't afford to heat our homes. We've now been told that they're going to have to put concrete down the wells and cap them off and block them off so that they can never ever be used. I'm not into fantastic use of global gases, global warming gases, or fossil fuels or anything, but at the moment we're not ready for completely renewables, which I'm still not 100% about anyway. So surely to God, rather than wasting billions of pounds and charging the British people billions of pounds extra for gas that is mined the same way as it would be mined in the UK from America and shipping it over in massive ships at great expense, we have to pay for the ships to go back empty again as well. You know, we don't just, it's not just one way. Then maybe Yeah, it's going to be good bringing the gas from the USA. Exactly, Michael. You bring the gas from the USA, and what happens? You've got to power the boat that brings it and send it back again, and you've also got to make the gas into liquid, which uses a lot of energy as well. So it's not environmentally friendly at all. It's surely okay if it's in your garden, then you're not happy about it. I get that, but I'd sooner have gas coming out of British things until we are ready to actually drop gas altogether, or use something else gassy. But at the moment, we've all got gas boilers. A lot of us have got gas ovens. We need to keep warm, and global warming is not going to change because Britain is still using a little bit of gas compared to countries like India, China, Russia, America, who use billions and billions and billions of tons. It's a bit like your next door neighbour deciding to open the window and it's going to affect your heating. It's not. It's just what we're doing in Britain is irrelevant to the rest of the world. If we could do less that's safe and cheap and doesn't leave people wanting to pay a fortune, then we are fantastic. It's all good. Anyway, enough of that. Next up, because we've done fracking. We've got, I don't know what we've got next actually. I'm at a sink here at the moment. We've done the teeth, we've done the thingamabob. Oh, we've done everything. We've done it all. So if you want to go back to anything, then feel free. China is burning a lot of coal as well. Yes, China is definitely burning a lot of coal. And they don't care. Which is probably why Beijing, where the Olympics are, there is man-made snow because it's not snowed enough there. It's like having Winter Olympics in Manchester. It's just not happening, and it's the only city I think in the world ever that's had the Winter Olympics and the Summer Olympics simultaneously both together and at the same time. But I could be wrong about that. Not that I ever am wrong about anything, obviously, because that'd be silly. So yeah, the Olympics. I'm not a big follower at Olympics, to be fair. Although I've said that before and then ended up watching them all the way through. So what can we go back to? Go back to Boris. Because he's a bit of a laugh, isn't he? He also accused Keir Starmer of not charging, personally not charging Jimmy Savile over the atrocious events that he did. And then it turns out it wasn't Keir Starmer at all. He was in charge, but it wasn't his direct statement that said that the CCP must or must not charge Jimmy Savile. So yeah, that went deep very quick, didn't it? Ooh. So he went. So Boris has gone. I'd say he's gone to Poland. He went to Brussels as well, didn't he? That was interesting. And he spoke to NATO chiefs there and said that we're going at war and it's going to be horrible and everything. So is it blustering? Is it trying to get people sorted and get things done, or is it just a way of shifting what's going on about the parties and everything with the old reports that we were getting off of Ms. Gray, which we still haven't had fully because the police are still looking into it. Remember, the police who were looking into it are the same police that Caressa Dick was in charge of. So yeah, don't hold out much hope for that actually going very soon. Boris is, well, it's like all politicians, isn't it? There was an interview with Keir Starmer, and he kind of, when he was not the leader of the Labour Party, he was a a member of the shadow cabinet with Jeremy Corbyn, and he kind of agreed, or didn't disagree, allegedly, that the NATO was a bad thing, which Corbyn said. And he said if he become Prime Minister, he'd take us out of NATO and he'd do this and do that and do the other. And if he had been made Prime Minister instead of Boris, bumbling Boris as we like to call him, then there's a possibility we'd all be wearing the same suits now all the time and walking around with little red books. So I think we dodged a bullet with Corbyn, but then when challenged about it, because now he's saying that NATO is a good thing and all that, he kind of blusters and waffles like every other politician does. What we need one of the big interviewers to say to a politician, what colour are your socks today? And just see if we can actually get a straight answer out of them. Or, what is your name? Something simple. So they will say, something like, socks. Yeah, I think socks are a great idea because they keep your feet warm and they also protect you from catching various things, and they should be made in Britain and blah blah blah, and nylon and blah blah blah, but not answering what colour their socks are because God knows why. Well, why don't we blame the PM is above the police because one of the officers murdered someone? If we are using Boris's logic, I wouldn't trust Boris run anything, never mind the country. It's the old boys network. Well, they're all the old boys network. I mean, Sir Keir Starmer. I mean, it's, there's a lot of posh people in charge now. They ran away from the idiot. Beth Rigby wished him a few questions. Well, Beth Rigby, I have no time for her anyway. That's why I don't watch Sky News now, because of Beth Rigby. Everything about her irritates me, including the fact that she went to a party and got suspended from the channel because it was Kay Burley's birthday party or something, and they both got suspended. So maybe we should suspend Boris for going to a party as well. Who knows? Kay Burley and Beth Rigby might have been there. There were rumours that there were reporters at some of these parties. So, yeah, I don't have any time for Beth Rigby, I'm afraid. Got anything else to say? What about my conspiracy theory regarding Prince Charles catching COVID and then meeting the Queen? Someone wants to be king before he pops off, don't they? Talk about... Oh, yeah. Imagine him as king. No, don't want to think about it. We'll all have to hug trees. Every Sunday, instead of going to church, we'll have to hug a tree. It's just going to be insane. And talk to insane things and do things that are insane, because that's what we do. Any more questions? Any more thoughts? Because this is kind of petering out now a little bit. How long have we been on for? I've been on for nearly 30 minutes. Half-hour show. It's longer than the news is, to be honest with you. Don't see if there's anything else. Oh yeah, the Greater Manchester Clean Air thing has been mentioned. And I still can't get my head around why it's been put back. I mean, I'm glad it has, don't get me wrong. Put back for at least months, if not years, and getting sorted out again because 10,000 people signed an online petition, whereas in Wigan 5,000 people went into a building and signed a petition in person, physically, in a much smaller area, because obviously Wigan is only a part of Greater Manchester and not even half of Greater Manchester, not even a quarter of Greater Manchester, not even a third of Greater Manchester for the population, probably not even maybe a tenth. But 5,000 wasn't enough physically to look at things that they were protesting about, but 10,000 in the conurbation of the whole of Greater Manchester is more than enough to stop the thing. No sense. Shustin, what does he think about the chances of being fined 10,000 for the parties? Someone needs to ask her about that. Yes, exactly. Scrap the royal family, become a republic. I kind of agree and disagree, because we get a lot of tourists because of the royal family, and they're bringing millions of pounds a year, and they're bringing more than what we spend on the royal family. In fact, a lot of the royal family nowadays is self-sufficient. Not all of them, and we do pay taxes to the royal family, but they have their own lands. They rent buildings out, houses and things like that, and they get money that way. And Charles has got a farm, and there's lots of stuff going on where they make their own money. So they're not as heavy on the taxpayers as they used to be, and they don't take anywhere near as much as they did. But we get a lot more money coming in from when they can come back again, the Japanese tourists, the Chinese tourists, and all that kind of thing. I've been expecting my eviction letter, to be fair. All the people that signed the Clear Air petition definitely own a diesel car. Oh, cynic and conspiracy theorists, they're everywhere. The Queen's gas bill will go up to 2 million. Yeah, that's true. Don't think she needs to be on a long-term fixed rate though. You're one of the best shops in Wigan. Oh, that's kind of you to say, thank you. I'm not, but if people think that, that's fine. We're on BBC Radio Manchester as well next week on one of the breakfast shows. But they didn't know what day because obviously there's stuff going on. But they want to put it on. They've interviewed loads of people for that, so keep your eye out for that one. So no, we seem to have petered out now, which is good. So go back to that table because that's one of the funniest things ever. I mean, just look at it. They've got the skaters on it as well. Are they actually on the table? Or has someone done that as a joke? I think someone's done that as a joke. But yeah, it does prove the point though, doesn't it? That that table was ridiculously big. Unless that's where they get the drugs from. Putin. Nah, he wouldn't get involved. He wouldn't get his hands dirty, would he? I agree with the clean air, but not at this moment due to the waiting list for electric and hybrid is over 1 year long. I think it is the mixed doubles at the Olympics, so someone's just proving a point that that table was ridiculously long. So whoever did that, top marks. Photoshop experts there. I dare say if that table ever reappears again, it won't be white, it'll be a different colour, but as long as it's not green, because you just have a whole bunch of football players playing on it. Hilarious. But I do like stuff like that, that people have a bit of a laugh with it. There's another picture I could find as well under the very high pressure I put myself under to actually find a picture. Anyway, we've done over 30 minutes, which I think is long enough for these things. I'm still trying to find my feet on these things as well, so if you've watched this to the end, then thank you very much. Don't forget to subscribe and have a look at the other ones I've done previously. You'll also notice as well that up there it now says the date, the 11th of February 2022, rather than week number, because as someone pointed out, if I do this for a very long period of time, the week numbers are just going to blitz into numbers and no one's ever going to know what time of the year it was. So we've now got rid of the numbers and we've now put dates on instead. So hopefully that will make things easier for people in the future if they ever want to look back at what was going on at certain dates. A bit like the Wigan Watchers. That's why they're not numbered. They are just the date on them, because I know a lot of people like looking back at old videos of Wigan in the 1950s, 70s, not the 60s necessarily, even the 80s, when the galleries was being built, and the 90s and all that kind of stuff, because things change all the time. But this is a massive change, so what I've done is I've dated them all so that when people do look back in 10, 15, 20, 30 years time, assuming YouTube is still a thing and they're still up there, which they should be, then people can find footage from Wigan from this era when the galleries was still a thing, rather than wondering about it afterwards. Are you doing a weather forecast on this? No, I'm currently just flying over in my this is my outside studio, It's off the planet as well, to be fair. So yeah, that's why I can only do it on a Friday, because the rest of the time scientists are using it for different things. But I can shoot up quick with Elon Musk's rocket and then get back down again with Virgin Galaxy rocket. So it's all good. But the weather's looking bad, I'll be honest with you. That's one thing I've noticed as well about the weather recently. It does seem to be windy all the time. It's like, what is the problem with the wind? Why is it just been windy since like September? I have no idea. Right, let's put in our closing thing, because we are talking about the planet. So there you go. There is said planet. That's from my further away thing, but I have to go for that one for the weekend. I can't do that when, overnight. Surprised you didn't get John to do these. John's left. John's buggered off. Don't know where he's gone. He says he's not going on telly again now because we reacts his news thing about Wigan Bus Station. We're like, well, it's been built for 4 years. There's not a lot to say about it now, is there? So yeah, he's gone. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Thank you incredibly much for joining in the conversation. So John Higginbotham, JT, Lewis, Frankie Slattery, even though he never says Stackery. There's been a Marta. Sean J, Michael Hinley, Tough I've already said. So I think that's everyone. Yeah, look after yourselves, stay safe, and we'll see you next week to review the week that will be was thing. So I've got this down to parts. Do it again. Thanks for watching. What a week that was. We'll see you next week for the week that will be. Or no. Thanks for watching What a Week That Was. We'll see you next week to review that week that was, that hasn't been yet. No, it's not very catchy, is it? Anyway, thanks for watching. Look after yourselves. Until next time. Bye! Where's the beer?